Welcome, friends. Wow, Cal shared a really important part of his journey, finding his true purpose from that awareness within Dubai to making a trip back to the Gold Coast, connecting with Angelo, with myself, and with a group of the brothers at Glow Church, and even getting baptized. So, what a journey he has been through, and in that, having to face some of the things that he was afraid of. As we step into this next episode, we're going to unlock the vault and find what was that anxiety that was deep inside of him, and how did he manage to find a place of peace and step into his greater purpose. So before we go into the next episode, I just want to make a comment on the views, the comments from all of our friends. Thank you so much for your interaction. Thank you for your response. Thank you for continuing to like us and to follow us and to subscribe and share with your network. The comment of the week, drum roll please, goes to Mike Ivy. And let me just read this for you. This is so good. I remember visiting you at the Joburg Hospital near the SABC, and to see how broken you were, how hard it was to see someone who had always been so alive now confined. Now look at you. What an inspiration you are. I love your 3 points. Taking accountability is something difficult for most, as blame does come easier. It really resonated. Keep shining, my brother, doing this incredible, courageous work. Thank you, Mike. Sending our shout outs from the Gold Coast to you and the family. Friends, we are going to delve deeper into Callum's story of how he discovered his greater purpose, the journey that he went through, facing his demons, facing his fears, and unlocking the vault, the anxiety that sat within that vault, within his heart. And so join us as we listen to Greater Purpose. And I said, okay, there's a reason and a purpose that you came. And I remember speaking to you, I said, just wait and see what the Lord's going to do in your life. You're going to go on a journey. So when we speak about trust, and you speak about joy, and you speak about love, those all his character traits, right? And unless we have a point of reference of what it is, then only we can start living it out. And so how do you find now with that trust and trusting in the Lord? You've learned that to establish this relationship with the Lord and to put your trust in him. Talk to us about that whole journey.
It's just freeing, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
But the main thing I've taken away is you don't have to do it alone.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it at all. All you have to do is just surrender, obey, and follow, and just live in accordance to his will. You don't have to try and work stuff out, and that's where it just happens naturally.
Yeah.
I feel like I've had like 3 sort of almost, you can call them like, I guess, awakenings, or just 3 periods that led to me going deeper. The first was me discovering the sort of, I guess, awareness in Dubai.
Yeah.
The second was sort of the phase where I started coming to Glow, and I did my baptism early in the year.
Yeah.
And the third period was just sort of this hectic experience that I've just had over the last week or so, which I think has just been the final nail in the coffin to like solidify everything.
Yes. Yes.
And I can say that now with everything happening, like it's more than like just a weight off your shoulders. It's like, there is no weight on your shoulders. It's like you're just living and
You're living.
being.
You're free. Yes, you're being, right?
You're being these characteristics and traits of joy, love, peace.
Yeah.
Like you're just here just to sort of showcase that.
Yeah.
It's not coming from your own power. It's coming from somewhere greater.
Right. So what has that meant to you? And then you're going to touch on your experience when you got back from New Zealand. So how was this transition? Because I could sense something was happening. Every time when we spoke, we would just go deeper, deeper, right? How did this all prepare you for your experience?
Well, it's just like going to the gym. Like you do, like, what are you doing? You're going to build like a gram of muscle a week or whatever. It's not really much, but it just compounds over time.
Yeah.
It's like what we've done. Every time we catch up, we like dive into the word and read together. It's just little bits and pieces of added wisdom that's sort of just accruing. And I feel like it's just been snowballing to the point where it's like the progress has been accelerating.
Yeah.
I'm able to make sense of what I'm doing and why I'm doing things.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm lucky that I've had you since the start, because if I was alone, it'd probably be a lot slower to really pick everything up, potentially go in the wrong direction. So you've built up my wisdom and I guess faith in that sense, because everything is sort of, I'm being guided.
No, thank you. Thank you for that. I believe that we've been connected and it's for a greater purpose. You want to touch people's lives. You want to bring that joy into the lives of others. I mean, you've been on the stage, you've got the medals, you got the pro card, but in that you still found that fulfillment is not in that.
Very shallow, yeah.
That's 100%. It's very shallow, right? And you want to give something that's greater, something that's more permanent, right? Now, I wanna lean on a quote that I learned this morning. This is powerful. It says, "Better one hand with tranquility than two hands with turmoil."
Good, actually. Yeah.
Right? Better one hand with tranquility than two hands with turmoil. You were going through your own turmoil. You've left it in a vault. Nobody knew about it. You knew, and you were fighting this. And you had to come face to face with that. What blew that vault open?
Well, should I touch base on what the actual
Yes,
struggles were
come on,
first?
tell us all about it.
So to start from scratch, like I guess a struggle I've had ever since I can remember ever.
Yeah.
Something I never shared with a single person at all. Up until recently, it's been something I've just dealt with. I think the only reason why I feel just able to speak on it after 27 years of being alive is because I feel like I've been saved and everything sort of, I've been healed, if that makes sense.
Wow.
But since I was young, like I just would always, ups and downs, would battle with just certain like mental battles. And it was all just sort of, I would describe it as like just internal like OCD-like symptoms, which is obviously common and nothing for anyone to ever be ashamed of, but I was.
Yeah.
And it would just relate in me having certain mental like superstitions of me thinking in certain patterns before any big event, or when anxiety rose, whether it be performance playing footy growing up, whether it be before bodybuilding shows, whether it be before a workout or anything I was anxious about. And it always would just flare up in ebbs and flows, waves, in states where I'd either feel pretty much in less ease and more anxiety sort of would take over. And we spoke about it. It would purely come from me trying to take control when I don't need to take control. But something I deal with from a young age. It got worse progressively over the years. And there was a period where from about the age of maybe grade 8 or grade 9 in high school up to about grade 11, maybe 13 to 16 years old, where it was like debilitatingly bad.
Yeah.
And I never told anyone about it, but I just went through a point where I was struggling. I didn't have any friends in that. Like I was friendly with people, but didn't have much social life in that age of school because I was very closed off. Yeah. And I was just quiet because everything was internal and I couldn't really be present. Luckily, I sort of came out of it a little bit when I got to like 16, 17, and I got to a point where I had a really fun time at school. Yeah. Started becoming more social and having great friends and stuff because I was able to become more present, but it never fully cleared. Yeah. And it would just come up and down in waves.
Just hold it. What were you feeling at that point in time?
When it was at its worst?
Yeah.
Just numb, I guess. Yeah. Numb and just very uptight.
Were you lonely?
Yes. But the thing is with it, like I was almost not able to comprehend or analyze how I felt. Yeah. Because my mind was so absorbed with these just, I guess, mental games that would sort of play. Yeah. The way I look, like obviously for people who don't know what OCD is, like I'm not an expert, but it's just, again, just patterns and just superstitions of things that just make zero sense. It's stupid.
It's driven by fear.
Driven by fear and the feeling of the fact that you need to take control to the extent where you feel like thinking certain patterns and routines in your mind is going to control circumstances, which it doesn't.
Is it safe to say that you felt weak against this particular
100%.
disorder, if we call it.
Yep. 100%.
You felt weak. And so by getting into gym, becoming big, becoming strong, you felt you were able to overcome it?
When you put it that way, maybe subconsciously. It was one of those things where I feel like the gym was almost a release. Like when, as you know, when you do something that's enjoyable or something that sort of excites you, it makes you more present. And when I'm more present, those sort of mental battles sort of disappear a bit. So I think I just enjoyed bodybuilding, to be honest. And it made me feel free from these things to an extent. Until I then started over time putting more pressure on the bodybuilding pursuit of doing it professionally to a high level.
So that thing came up again.
And it came up again through my, self-inflicted pressure of wanting to be the best for the reasons that weren't really aligned with the true purpose.
Okay. All right. So can we tap on that one a bit?
Yeah.
Because a lot of young men are in that same position. They don't know how to explain it. They have this feeling it's overwhelming, right? It's something that causes them to push themselves into an uncomfortable position and make it enjoyable because they don't want to deal with it. And you said you're feeling numb because you didn't quite know what it was. But what were the thoughts that were actually going through your mind? Because fear was definitely speaking to you. What was it that was actually playing off in your mind?
I think it all stemmed from pressure I put on myself to achieve whatever my goal was.
Like you're not good enough?
Yeah, sometimes it'd be, though, to be honest, one of the earliest things I can remember as a young kid when these sort of tendencies popped up was me being afraid of something about a bus, me being scared of missing a bus. So it was fear of like, I'm going to miss this bus going to this excursion. So I sort of like just go through this weird superstitious pattern in my mind of thinking certain thoughts in a certain order. Just because I was like, this is going to lead to me not missing the bus. It makes sense. It had something to do with the fact of I thought to myself, like, I'm going to miss this bus. And then I didn't. And because I thought that I was going to miss it, but I didn't, I was like, okay, well, in the future, if I think the opposite of what I want to come to life, that's going to lead to my desired result, which is so dumb. It doesn't work that way. But that became just from the age of maybe 6 years old, that became just an ingrained pattern.
Yeah.
And it's just trying to control in that sense. So these sort of irrational thoughts would take over the ability to really actually think about what's going on. And that's where the numbness, I think, came from because your mind is too preoccupied doing all this stupid stuff.
So but I mean, it's, we say that, but when you're in it,
you can't,
that's where it becomes so overwhelming.
And it's just a habit. Like if I can think of that instance which stands out the most as one of the earliest ones, I was probably 6. So that was just over 20 years ago. So that's 20 years of habits, which have obviously had highs and lows,
and it
points
compounds,
where it's the volume's up, the volume's down, until very recently. But yeah, it's purely just coming through a rational sense of controlling circumstances that you have zero control over. And obviously everything that we've learned is through surrender to God's plan, God's will, God's control. You're not in control anyway. So this doesn't do anything.
To let it go.
Yeah, let it go, yeah.
What's our famous saying?
Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Can we explain that one?
Yeah, you go for it, brother.
So you probably word it better than I do. But the first day we met, you were explaining, I think I probably mentioned to you that I feel like I've just have this anxiety and need to control and perfectionism. And you were like, just leave it alone. I'm like, what does that mean? You're like, be the leaf in the river. Just go with the flow. Like think of the river as the Holy Spirit or God's plan or God's will for you, which is unavoidable. So if there's a current taking everything in that river down a certain way, you can paddle against it, resist, and try and take control like I was doing. Or you can be a leaf who just peacefully lays there and goes with the flow.
Wow.
And like I think if you're going with the flow and just being that leaf, you're going to go to a better destination through surrender and in a state of peace rather than trying to resist. And that resistance potentially leading you to go off stream and land in the dirty mangroves. Instead, you're going to just go with the flow. You'll get there faster and your destination will be better. And it's when you just release it. That's the whole concept of what's broken me free of this like thing that's been troubling me for so long.
It's like a gloomy cloud over your head all the time. I want to pause there, right? Because that is powerful, right? And it meant a big deal for you. It brought a shift. And although you didn't feel it immediately, it was what led to your experience, which you're going to share with us.
The recent one, yeah.
But I want really for our friends, young men, you have this expectancy. Sometimes it's placed on you by others. Sometimes it's placed on you by institutions, organizations, whether it be school, whether it be work. You've got to live up to a certain expectation. But the worst of all is the one that you place on yourself, because nobody can see it, not even you. And yet, that's the biggest battle. We see with Callum, it was a war going on within his mind of these thoughts that were always pulling, tossing, pulling, pushing, and creates more anxiety within him. And he felt by having this obsessive compulsive behavior, he's going to be able to control the outcome. And that creates anxiety, that search for perfectionism, always be in control. And what he learned was to be like a leaf that falls into a river. It will go with the river and flow. Even if there are obstacles, there's boulders or rocks along the way, it will always navigate past that. And the river is the flow of the Holy Spirit. It's the plan and the purpose that the Heavenly Father has for each and every one of us. And when we come to that point of surrender to Him, this is where freedom starts. Because we're not fighting within ourselves, for ourselves, with ourselves, but we are surrendering all of that and allowing that fresh flow every day, that grace, that mercy, that love. So my encouragement to each and every one of you, right? Listen to what I said. Better one hand with tranquility, with peace, than two hands with turmoil, with anxiety, with stress, with pressures. It's your choice. And for Callum, he found that peace by a surrender, right? So Callum, you surrendered. Every day has been a process of surrender. How difficult was it, or how easy was it? Talk to us about it. And then please let us get to this
story. Yeah. I guess the process in concept or in the idea of surrender, it's hard because I don't want to relinquish this control that you don't even have anyway, but you think you do.
Yeah.
And it's scary. But as soon as you just take that leap, and even if you just have a little bit of increased faith or a little bit of surrender, even if it's not 100% there yet, you experience instantly a massive wave of relief.
Yeah.
And everything just tends to work in your favor. Whether it's what you expected or not, you always say, this has worked out so much better than when it was trying to control, and I'm at a state of peace. So the actual process is not hard once you get into it, because everything just works out in your favor. But the idea at first of just letting go is tricky.
Yeah.
And for me, it's been just like a gradual thing. Like I think the surrender sort of started with like a little seed, and that seed's obviously, I feel like since that Dubai period, the seed has just been sort of sprouting underground. The what do you call it? Little roots have been sort of getting there. Then there was a point past week or so where that root has just started to sprout over the soil.
Yeah.
And now I feel like this is just becoming a big blooming,
it's going to blossom,
massive vine of goodness.
goodness.
We're going to call it that.
You mentioned to me something where you were doing a particular tricep exercise.
I remember that day. Yep.
Now, share with us, whilst you were doing that exercise, this revelation, epiphany you had.
This was the first time. Yeah.
And how it's related to our story.
Yeah, well, it's just like a physical representation of surrender, I guess. Like I was doing a tricep extension, like an overhead cable extension. And I was just struggling the last couple of reps. I was feeling fatigued. And I just had this weird thing come over where I was like, I'm not doing this alone. Like I'm not the one that's empowering myself. The power's coming from like the Holy Spirit itself. And I was like, okay, how about I just don't grip as tight physically in my hand, but spiritually as well. Don't try and take the wheel myself, and then let's just let Him flow.
Yeah.
And first off, I experienced a wave of sort of peace and release in physical and spiritual tension.
Yeah.
And then what that led to is just me getting extra reps out. Like
Wow.
the reps were mad. I was like, oh. Because if you want to look at it physically, I was just gripping too hard, being too tense, trying to do it myself.
Yeah.
But then internally, it was me just being too relying on my own power, which is nothing compared to his power.
Yeah.
And then I remember that. And now since that day, my training is like, it's almost like a form of meditation. I go in there relinquishing my power and just doing it in a state of surrender.
Wow.
The tension goes. Yes, it's still hard. Yes, it still hurts. But like it's an act of reminding myself of surrender that I'm not, yes, my body might be doing stuff, but I'm not the one I'm not the puppeteer. I'm the one that's sort of just here just to let his
You're not in
power,
control.
I'm the one that's to let his power shine through. And it just, that is, I guess, the representation of how your training represents surrender and how your training represents what your purpose is to showcase his power, not just to let yourself take all the glory.
Right.
We're nothing.
You're doing it with a deeper purpose.
With a deeper purpose and a deeper power. What's the phrase we said a few weeks back? It's like surrender your power for a greater power to take over. When you do that, it's like you just again, you become that leaf that's flowing, but you're flowing with power.
Yeah. So Callum, he coined that phrase, to surrender your power to a greater power. That was how he found his release. So can you kind of demonstrate to us how you were doing that tricep extension?
Yeah.
Come on. And then
I had so think of like a cable extension. So behind my head, pulling up this way. Hand was gripped
you were
tight.
gripping it.
I was probably shrugged up at the traps. I was like, I can do this. And then the wave came over. You don't need to be tensing your traps or your hands or your forearms to work your tricep.
Yeah.
So physically it was like, all right, I'm going to relax all these other areas. And instead of being jacked up everywhere, it's just the tricep working.
Yeah.
And everything's much more optimal through me releasing, again, physical tension, coming relaxed.
Yeah.
Therefore, greater power, which is more optimal, just doing its thing.
Focused on that particular.
Focused on what needs to be done, rather than just tension everywhere, paddling against the stream.
Right. Share with our listeners and our friends that epiphany that you had, that tension that you have by just holding on so tightly versus being at peace, opening up your posture,
breathing,
right? And doing an extension physically, but it started with you spiritually.
And it's like it starts spiritually and it ends spiritually. It's like, all right, when you spiritually surrender physically, your physical outcome is better.
Yeah.
But then the physical outcome serves the purpose of the spiritual power, showcasing that spiritual power. So it's like starts with the spirit, provides the physical worldly response, and that therefore reflects the spirit's power back. So it's
Awesome.
That's the way I sort of see it. Yeah.
Awesome. Amazing. So now tell us, New Zealand, you got to New Zealand.
Yeah, so we went to New Zealand last week again for Morgan's pro debut, and I find for myself when I travel, I get just anxiety sort of symptoms starting to pick up a little bit.
Yeah.
And it probably comes through the lack of routine. Well, routine sort of maintains pretty normal, but it's just you add it in a different environment and that sense of control.
You're out of your normal.
Yeah, and although yes, over the last year and period, I've felt so much more at peace with these sort of mental battles. That it still comes and goes every now and then. And I knew going into it, I was expecting. When I travel, I just tend to get more anxious and I tend to sort of go back into these tendencies. So we went over there and I knew that this being Morgan's pro debut was really important for her to be in a peaceful environment.
Yeah.
And I know that when I get in this anxious and mental sort of caught up state, I often become less present. I'm not as social and I sort of close myself off. And almost she probably thinks I'm just not interested in what she's saying. But it's because I've got this mental sort of turmoil going on where I can't focus. But I just remember being like, I really want to be present for her. I don't want this anxiety or these mental battles to take over. And I was just praying that I had just a lot of prayers on the flight. And when we got there that I was praying for peace, presence, and the ability to just be there for her and not be obstructed by my own
getting within your own head.
Yeah.
Right?
And one of those things you can't put words into, I just experienced that. And some people might say it's a placebo effect of just you praying for it and trusting that it comes to life. But I call it like it's just the fact that I had faith in these prayers.
Yeah.
They became reality. Yeah. And over there, I just had the best time. New Zealand's a beautiful place, but it's not like the most exciting thing ever. But if I compare me going to New Zealand compared to going some of the more like exciting places in the world, like New York or Dubai, this was the best experience, not because of location, but because I was present and I was able to I feel like I was fully alive and there for her.
Yeah.
But that whole trip, I just felt so present. I was able to be there for her. I was able to help her, no obstruction of the mind. And I was just given so much excitement because I was like, my prayers have been answered. This is awesome.
Yeah.
We met up with her family the night of the show, went out for a dinner and celebrated. Again, for some reason, I feel like these sort of symptoms pop up for me when a lot of time if we're out for a meal or an occasion. And I just had the same prayers again. I was like, let me be present. And I do not remember a day in my life where I felt more present than this. We were sitting, just Morgan, myself, and her parents in New Zealand, and we were just so present. We were laughing, we were happy, we were communicating just in such a peaceful and present way. And there was no fear or anxiety of me feeling like I need to control the situation and get caught up in my head in these weird ways that would, in some cases, take over. And then just the rest of that trip, I just remember feeling so much peace. And I was like, this is crazy. This is something I haven't experienced in my life. We flew home the next day. The flight was awesome. We got home, and then that next week I was just living in like a state of sort of just peace and like excitement that I had experienced such peace over there.
Yeah.
So that was sort of the instigator for everything that then occurred, which we spoke about.
Yeah.
Which was, I guess, the next step.
Yeah.
So after an awesome week, we got back Sunday night. That week was just a productive week. Yeah, felt good. But business as usual. And then it got to Friday. I remember the date was Friday the 7th of November. I remember that. I woke up, the night before that, Thursday night, I was just listening to some like guided prayer. I often get on YouTube and listen to some guided prayer. And I was just looking and like researching for the first time ever, like OCD-like symptoms, how to sort of become even more surrendered to the point where this stuff isn't required. And I found a prayer for mental health, just a simple prayer. I had my headphones on, listened to it just before I went to bed. And I was just praying for mental health and clarity and surrender. And I almost kind of forgot about the fact that I listened to it. Then the next morning I woke up in just a state of just one of those days you wake up feeling great. And this is where it got weird, and it's probably going to sound sort of a bit weird. And if I was to hear this a year or two ago, I would have been like, what are you talking about, you weirdo?
Yeah.
But I woke up with this just thought and almost like clarity in my mind. And the message that came to me was like, you're stepping in. This like the state or the dream that you have is coming to life. And I guess I'll go into context. Since my whole journey I've been on, I've just realized this new purpose as what I want to do, the influence I want to have, and my purpose for my bodybuilding and my sort of the stuff that I do. And it's purely become just to, I guess, use this platform that I've achieved with bodybuilding to give back, uplift others, help others, I guess, improve their lives, motivate, and just uplift others. And I have this really clear vision of the way I want to go about it, the way I want to achieve it. And I call it I guess it's my vision or my dream that I have. This day that I woke up, what I was sort of just feeling, I just had this message come through my mind, like, the dream is here. You are stepping in. This is the day it comes to life. This is the life of your dreams. And it doesn't sound quite as deep in words, but I've just had this sense of peace and just pure confidence, faith, and hope that this is like, although I can see my dream coming to life every day, this is the day where I'm fully stepping in this dream of the personal brand, the influence, and the impact I want to have on the world is truly coming to life. And I was just went through that whole morning feeling so at peace, in a state of just such deep assurance that I was being sent this message from God, like, this is what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I just felt amazing. I went to work that morning. I go work at a cafe a lot in the morning on the laptop, and I just remember being super focused, super productive. And this state of that I was in, because I just felt so at peace with the assurance of me stepping into this dream life.
Yeah.
I just remember seeing people, I'm like, I think it was like the lady that handed me my coffee. I was like, I love this lady. The guy walked past, but I just want to hug this man. I remember like just looking at random people for no reason, and be like, I love people.
Wow.
Because I just felt this state of like assurance that it's all here. I went home that around midday. I was home alone. I was sitting out on our balcony in the sun and just praying. Then I had this, I just was praying with gratitude for this sense of just pure faith and hope that I had. just in gratitude, saying thank you. And then I had this thought come over my mind of praying for just breaking free of these final little pieces of these mental battles that I'd go through. Yeah. Because although it was obviously so much clearer than in the past, it's still there. It was still there to a degree. And I was like, that's the final piece. Just break this free, cancel this. Break through, cancel. And I just had this feeling like you don't need this anymore.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I got a message saying God was saying I'm in control. Yeah. You don't need this.
Yeah.
It's done.
It's done.
And again, in words, it doesn't sound like anything crazy, but something that you can't put into words. It hits you deep in the heart. Yeah. And I felt it. I closed my eyes and I just remember just sort of, sometimes I just close my eyes and just visualize just imagery of just certain things that give me peace, whether it be, I often like just visualize like a light or like a dove or like just Jesus in some sense or some representation of that. And as I had my eyes closed, I just physically had this odd sense of like just relaxation through my body physically. I felt like weird. I was like, oh, this is really nice. Yeah. And then I had this image in my mind pop up, whether or not I was looking for imagery to sort of give me peace or whatever it was. But I saw the word 5:11, Peter. And obviously that's like a Bible verse.
Yeah.
And I don't recall ever reading that before. And I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, I feel really at peace. This is like a really surreal experience. I'm going to look this verse up. I don't even know how to say it. So Peter, chapter 5? No, chapter 1.
5.
Chapter 5, line 11. Or
verse 11.
Verse 11 is how you say it. So the verse 11 is a short one. And it says, to him be glory and dominion forever and ever. Amen. So I think the version I read at the time, it was worded, to him be the power and glory forever. So the way I took that was God is in control.
It's surrender.
And the way I took it, it hit me really hard in that moment.
Yeah.
In that state of peace, I was
and
like,
you had a wave.
Yeah, I had this wave of peace just come over
you.
And to me, I sort of read it as God, it's his power, it's his will, he's in control. Yes. You do not need this subconscious feeling of control because you're not in control, he's in control. Yeah. And then obviously if you read further above verse 11, if I read the whole thing out from
verse 6.
From verse 6, where's verse 6? If I go from verse 6, so humble yourselves therefore under the mighty hand of God, that he may exalt you in due time, casting all your care upon him, for he cares for you. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walks about seeking whom he may devour. Yeah. Resist steadfast in faith, knowing that the same afflictions are accomplished in your brethren that are in the world. So again, pretty much people go through trials, and I saw it as my trials being these mental battles I went through.
Yeah.
Then, but the God of all grace, who has called us unto his eternal glory by Christ Jesus, those who have suffered a while, he will make you perfect, stable, and strengthen you. This is a different version to what I read. But again, the way I took that was you go through struggles. In the end, he will uplift you. He's there for you. He's here to strengthen you. He is in control.
Yeah.
And I just fully just saw that as you don't need to control anymore. You've been through these battles your whole life. Now it's time to hand it over.
Yeah.
It's time to step in. Yeah. And this just hit me so hard. Yeah. I was like, first off, why did I read that random thing in my mind? Why did it come up? I don't know what that is. And I read it. I'm like, that's like, to him be glory and dominion forever and ever. That he's in control. You don't need control. And that just, it's almost like I was just cleansed of this thing I've been dealing with forever.
Yeah.
It's been far from as debilitating as it was when I was younger. Yeah. There's still flows and times where it would pop up. Yeah. I felt it just wash away.
Yeah.
And since that day, I remember I marked the day. It was the 7th of November. Yeah. And to me, that's just a day where two things. I stepped into the dream life of this purpose I feel that I've been called to have, like a eternal sort of influence, reflecting Jesus through everything I am. Yeah. And secondly is relinquishing mental battles so that he can flow and work through me without obstruction, without my obstruction of mental.
You're standing in the way.
Yeah. And then it just happened. And that was Friday.
Yeah.
Since that day, I've felt like so much peace.
Yeah.
I've never shared these sort of mental battles that have gone on, but I felt that I could for the first time ever. So on Saturday I shared that with Morgan and I broke down like crying for some weird reason. And because of me sharing that to her, for the first time, she came along to church with me on Sunday. She doesn't normally come.
Yeah.
Just to support, and because she obviously saw something in me that was, I guess, that had been healed or saved or made new. And it's one of those things I describe this story, and it's the words don't seem to sound to me as deep and meaningful as what it is.
What you experienced.
But I think the way it is you've said it before, like it's not like, I guess what you're experiencing with God is not something from the mind, it's from the heart. You don't have to understand it. Like, don't lean on your own understanding because you are, there's so much more going on. Our minds aren't capable. So that's the story.
And then you phoned me.
And then I phoned you on what day? Monday?
Tuesday.
Just to tell you the story, purely because you have guided me down this path with so much just clarity since I started that I don't think this definitely wouldn't happen without yourself. Yeah. And I remember when this happens, I got to tell Dean. I was like, first person I tell is Morgan, because this is something that I've been battling and this is really going to affect her life and me, I think, being a more present person, reflecting just the spirit with all I do. And I was like, then I'll tell Dean. And I was so excited. And since that day happened, it's like that urge of needing to control and being caught up in these mental superstitions has been cleansed. Wow. It's been nearly a week. There's still habits. Sometimes I'll see myself start to go back into this mental pattern when I'm in an anxious state. But for the first time ever, I feel like now I'm able to look at it and be like, you don't need that. Yeah. So although it's a habit that's been ingrained for 27 years almost, for the first time ever, I can see it and be like, I can see it for what it is and be like, no, that's not necessary. Whereas before I'd get caught up and that's where like the lack of presence and lack of life would like just stem from. But I thought it was important to share that with people closest to me, Morgan. I've only shared it with you and her and now the podcast and everyone else here. But it's I don't feel the shame that I used to feel because I feel like I'm not sure. It's just I feel like it's gone.
You're free now.
And there's no reason to feel shame for having mental battles because everyone does. But
in your mind, that's what it creates.
But it's been pretty crazy.
Thank you so much for sharing. I know that it's taken a lot. Like you said, you haven't really shared it. You had to fight this battle internally for such a long time. I think not even Morgan knew the depth of what you were going through until you actually you spoke to her about it. Thanks for sharing it with me. I feel so honored because there are so many young men and women out there that battle with this. But it's like a pressure and a weight that weighs down on you. And you knew that you've had it for such a long time. For such a long time. And although you started on this journey, but piece by piece, it started to crumble. And this weekend, when you heard the Lord speaking into you, get ready. You are stepping into the life of your dreams. That was the distinct
That's exactly the message I felt.
That you got.
And it's so exciting because I'm someone who always feels like if I have a goal, I feel very passionate about it. Yeah. But now it's not so much a egotistical goal. Yeah. This new purpose is like, this is my calling.
It's deeper. Right? It's for eternity, like you said.
And if everyone thinks about it deep down, like there's nothing more satisfying than doing something for the greater good or doing something for someone else than just trying to please your ego. Yeah. So like this calling that I've been building and seeing more clarity of, having that confirmed, I feel to me is just giving me so much peace to be like, I don't need to control this stuff. This is happening. I'm just here to showcase the calling that I've been blessed with. Yeah. Awesome. And I say this stuff, I'm like, if I was to say this or hear someone say this a year ago, I would have been like, you're crazy.
Sweet stuff.
And there's probably going to be people watching this and be like, we're talking about you, weirdo. But like, I can say it now if I can, like, by me sharing it, hopefully it lets people know that like it's true.
It's real. When you go through that experience, when you know you felt that pressure, you felt that you were in captivity for such a long time, and then being set free, the light of that word coming, breaking through that darkness, setting you free. That is a personal journey. And I remember you kept on saying, I can't really put it into words, but you know, it's not about articulating it well enough, but just you sharing it, it's going to resonate with so many people out there. And it's the word from the Father that brings light, right? It's doing good because His goodness is flowing through you. His love, His loving others because His love for you was so great.
Now I'm just like a utensil to share the love, really.
You're just a conduit now.
I'm just a bit of meat and muscle that's just spreading some love.
You're a spoon or a fork? Which one are you?
Yeah, I don't know what I am.
And thank you so much, Cal, for sharing that with us. It's so powerful. And, for our friends out there, you don't have to live under that pressure of expectancy, of this pressure that OCD places on, that you've placed on yourself. And we can see with Cal, it started when he was 6 years old and it compounded over the years. For each and every one of you listening, we want to speak breakthrough into your lives today. As Cal shared his story, he received his breakthrough so that you can also receive a breakthrough. So we speak to you, we speak breakthrough into your lives, that light will pierce the darkness as you listen to this. In that, when you're in a lonely place, when you're in despair and depression and the pressure of everything just seems to be falling on you, I speak breakthrough to you. And like Cal, through surrender, be a leaf falling into a river. Release, surrender it all, and you will find the peace.
Leave it alone.
Leave it alone.
That's. I'll sum it up with that.
We'll leave it alone.
Leave it alone.
That's it. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Cal, thank you so much, my brother.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate.
Beautiful.
Friends, we spoke about leave it alone. And here's my friend. This was gifted to me by Callum. Basically said the analogy that we shared about leave it alone. He felt in his heart he wanted to get me a plant as a gift. So thank you, Callum, for the gift. And you can see it's growing. We are leaving it alone. What do we summarize from that episode is that Cal's journey started off with an awareness in Dubai where he felt so lost after losing and not getting a place. And that led him to search and ask questions. What is his purpose for doing bodybuilding? This led him to his baptism at Glow Church, where he connected with myself, Angelo, and a few of the other brothers. But it kept on growing, this spiritual surrender, because he was dealing with this anxiety, the mental battles that he was still facing every day. And then he had this pivotal moment where the Lord spoke to him a clear message of surrender. And then also stepping into the life of your dreams. That gave him the vision, that unlocked for him the greater purpose, why he's doing bodybuilding, how he can uplift those around him, become more present in his relationships, in his friendships, and in his purpose. So may some of these points resonate with you. And like the plant, let's leave it alone. Surrender it. As we wrap up this episode, we have these 3 questions that I would like to pose to you to think about, to reflect on, and respond. What are you afraid of? Just think about those things that really torment you in the quiet of the night. What's holding you back? What have you locked in the vault of your heart? And the last question is, what does surrender look like to you? What does letting go look like to you? For Cal, it was the leave it alone. He visualized himself as a leaf falling into a river. The river being the Holy Spirit, the will of God, and just being present in that. What does it look like for you? And the takeaways that we had was, number 1, a spiritual surrender. It all starts with the spiritual surrender. Number 2, it leads to that optimal physical outcome. And number 3, it allows you to step into your greater purpose. Spiritual surrender, optimal physical outcome, step into your greater purpose. And one final message. This episode is being released Christmas Eve. So we wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. And a Happy New Year. Come on, Liz. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Oh, that's great.
Are you happy with that? You better comment on my singing.
Yeah, Dean's feeling you're not getting the validation that you need on your sing.
If you don't comment, I won't stop.
You'll just keep singing.
You should come sing with me.
No, we don't need that. We'll lose viewers.
I could see where they were. You know, I could see things from their perspective.
Yeah.
And I felt this huge gush of compassion for them. They couldn't see what I could see.
Yes.
I could see this guy that I so badly wanted to marry, and I knew he was the one.